Yes, yes. Welcome back. I'm Alfred Levelant Weber, and today we have an extraordinary program coming to us from an undisclosed location for security reasons. Our Ella Draper, the mother of the whistleblower children, Alyssa and Gabriel, who have been at the center, who really exposed the Hampstead, UK pedophile and ritual child sacrifice network, and her partner and the caregiver to the children, Abraham Christie. Welcome.
Hi, Alfred.
Hello, Alfred. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us on your show again.
Yes.
Thank you once again.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. It's been some time since we last spoke, which was right after the judgment of Justice Coffey had come out. She had fled the UK, to use that term, for Israel on a supposed vacation, and that judgment came out, and they were prearranged negative articles about you in the mainstream media of the UK that seemed to come from the top command of the world mainstream media control. Is that how you felt back then?
Yes, definitely. You described it very well.
Yeah. And so now, where do things stand now in terms of the appeal? I know that you've taken an appeal from that judgment, which was even leaked to the press before they gave it to your attorneys.
Exactly. Yeah, they made a press release the day before.
Yeah.
So judgment was read out. I think it was already printed in the papers.
Right.
On the same day, or before she read out the judgment.
Right. Right. So, yeah. So you went through a process, and then you decided to file an appeal from that judgment, correct?
Yes. We filed an appeal. How it works. First, it was hearing on paper, what they called, where the judge receives certain arguments from both sides, and then make decision on his or her own. And that was refused. This leave to appeal was refused. This is, in fact, an application for permission to appeal, right? It's not.
Yes. Yeah.
And so that was refused, and now we ask for the oral hearing to allow the appeal. And this hearing gonna be happening on the 23rd of July, and it's open hearing. So whoever listens to us and hears about that, we invite people to attend this hearing. I think it's 9:30 in the Royal Court of Justice. You've read the Skeleton argument, which is a direct answer to Patrick's judgment. And we haven't seen the skeleton argument from the other side. In fact, they're really misbehaving, a local authority. Like, for example, it is a lot of how to say, breach of all their practices. I would imagine, for example, they refused to give us our updated bundle of the court documents, and they were messing about with them. Well, they let us know about their intention to redact all the documents before they give us. And then they wanted to adjourn a hearing, which is was kind of intermediate hearing. It did happen actually before this leave to appeal one. And so we don't know what happened there. We didn't attend. Even, for example, even what they're saying, that they're inviting my legal representative to their chambers to see redacted or unredacted paperworks. It's they're just one time they're sending one message, and then he's sending the opposite. But the bottom line is that they prevented me from participating in the court proceedings, and now all along they've been trying to do everything possible to exclude my solicitor, now my legal representative, from participating in the legal proceedings too. Like, for example, during the last hearing which we attended, which was, I think, it was direction hearing, he was cross-examined quite aggressively and in intimidating manner. In fact, trying to discharge him from these proceedings, to exclude him, saying that he broke some code practice or something like that. So this is where we are. We don't have. We asked for the recordings and transcripts of the fact findings, which been refused to us. On the public expense, which when someone is in dispute with the government, you're supposed to have all your expenses all legal expenses supposed to be covered, and they've been messing with the legal aid, with public funding, and now with the issues, this recordings and transcripts as well. But legally we're doing everything we can, but every door we're knocking on is being blocked so far. Like, for example, the main issue of the appeal is that the investigation hasn't been carried out, and the crucial evidence was concealed. Partly she knows about it. She did acknowledge in her judgment as a curious fact, and nevertheless, she assumed the duty of the criminal court judge, and cleared the abuses of all their wrongdoings. Saying that the investigation was full and thorough, which wasn't true at all, and so the issue is police investigation, which never been effective, right? So we also we complained to independent body from the police, which is called IPCC. It's they're supposed to Independent Police Complaint Commission. Abraham helping me. So they're also refusing to look into the issue, and they're sending it back to the police. And of course, police is doing nothing. The Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police keeps silence. The Home Office, Theresa May, her office keeps quiet as well. They don't respond to any of our letters. So this is where we are. Right.
And so that's almost. I'm just starting to go through here your brief that you submitted for this argument for permission to file the appeal, which you'll be doing on the 23rd of July. And if you go to, you say, the appellant alleges that she was prevented from attending any of the court hearings from 12th February. She has not had sight of the transcripts of the hearings on 17 to 20 February, 10 to 12 March. She's been refused a copy of the up-to-date papers. And it should be noted that this skeleton argument and the grounds of appeal have been drafted without sight of such documents, and to which the appellant is entitled to have a copy of. So here, you who are, a principal party have been excluded from the beginning. Could you tell us how that came about?
How was protected from the participation in the hearings? This is your question.
Sorry?
Your question? Will you repeat the question again?
Yes.
To make sure.
Yes. It's that looking at the skeleton argument here, that is the brief, it says that you were prevented from attending any of the court hearings, and you didn't have any of the transcripts or the papers in the court, and yet we're looking at this entire judicial proceeding which went forward. Could you tell us how it was that you were prevented from attending any of the court hearings?
So what happened, as you know, well, to my knowledge, that happened in February. I think it happened on the 10th of February. The video material, the video footage filmed by us on the way from Morocco to London, mainly, and also some footage in London. So this footage found its way online, and now we learn that it actually happened earlier. It happened in December, but we probably will come back to that. So this material was published, as well as other court materials, police videos, and the file that I compiled from the voice of the children with all the names of alleged abusers, and these caused a it's not charges, but police wanted me for a questioning. But I didn't know at the time when 10 policemen showed up at my door, and some of them were not wearing uniform, and we think that some of them were medicals as well, medical people. And I suspect that I would have been sanctioned, which many mothers being sanctioned or been jailed following their report of the rape committed by the fathers, usually. And this is part of the pattern that they're following. They're harassing mothers, they're hunting mothers out of the country, sanction or imprison them. And so this, I managed to avoid this. We ran away through the gardens and through the roofs. I would rather say over the roofs, yeah. And then shortly I left the country, and then after that another batch of policemen non-uniform, yeah, non-uniform. They showed up at Abraham's address as well, and they were looking for me. and they were pretty confident that I was there.
I was on the phone to you.
Yes, and it happened when Abraham was on the phone to me. And yeah, well, that's what happened. I mean, they hunted me out of the country. Well, and it was risky for me to stay in the UK.
Right. Now, let me turn over here what I'm looking at, and we'll put links in the article that'll be accompanying this interview to this. This is the judgment. This is Justice Mrs. Palfrey speaking. She says, Ms. Draper and Mr. Christie have not participated by being present in court. I am sure as I can be that their absence has been deliberate. Isn't that a misleading statement? when she knew that there was like that the charged party was the father, not the mother and the caregiver.
Yeah.
I mean, and then let me read one other sentence, and I'm going to come back to both of you to comment on this. Then she said, the forensic inquiry has been full and thorough. It has made little difference that Miss Draper has been absent. So here we have at the beginning of the opinion, this is the judge. Miss Draper and Mr. Christie have not participated by being present in the court. I am sure as I can be that their absence has been deliberate. The forensic inquiry has been full and thorough. It has made little difference that Miss Draper has been absent. Now, don't those two sentences kind of summarize the kind of procedural and judicial fraud and that was perpetrated on both of you?
Well,
because what you're saying here is that you were both attacked by agents of state terror who came to arrest you when you were the complaining parties.
Exactly.
Yeah. So could you comment?
Was their plan to prevent us from participating in the proceedings? Otherwise, we will be asking all these questions. You know, why the case was not investigated? Why Diamond's property and laptop and mobile phone was not seized and investigated? Why all the alleged abuses were not questioned? Why or why other children were not examined? Why there no forensics been allowed? Been working in the church and the other properties, other identified properties by the children. It's just so many questions, and of course, Judge Buckley assumed my rights. That she's going to be acting for me. Or what?
Palfrey's Israeli, Alfred, as is her colleague Maya, who passed the case to her. Are you still there?
Yes, my mouth gapes open that she is a dual citizen of Israel, but that is congruent and consistent with the research that I have found in this area, that these pedophile networks are used for paramilitary purposes by the synagogue of Satan, emanating out of Israel. There you go.
However, it's not exclusive to any particular religious tradition, as we mentioned.
I'm sorry?
This behavior is not exclusive to any particular religious tradition. if you will.
Right.
In fact, this group, this cult, they infiltrated many religions. They infiltrated Islam. They infiltrated Christianity. Not only in Judaism.
Yeah.
I see. So it's purely coincidental that she is Israeli.
No, I wouldn't. Coincidental, synchronistic, not at all. Of course, Israel has its part. Of course, Israel has its part to play, as does Kabbalistic Talmudic Judaism,
right?
If you will.
And a lot of Jewish people do practice, do come in this, do engage in these practices as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been going on for centuries. And a lot of Jewish people been thrown out of the countries for that as well.
Yes, as Chris Everard mentioned in his recent article through TAP News and Hampstead Research that you shared with us this afternoon, Alfred.
No. I understand. I'm just trying to, ask questions here because it's the first time that I discovered that she was an Israeli citizen.
Okay.
See, but the previous judge, Judge Mann, who was dealing with this case before and passed the case to Buckley, she is also Israeli.
I see.
It's the institutionalized corruption that that most people are unaware of, Alfred. You see, they've been creating this system, if you will, and developing it in a stealth-like manner since the 50s and 60s, and have been placing cult members, pedophiles, sodomite cult members in strategic positions within organizations such as child welfare and schools and social services. And it's been, and of course, in the establishment of residential care for children throughout the 60s. We found a link, as we may have mentioned to you, with one of the alleged abusers in this case, with a well-known pioneer in the child welfare field, if you will, a certain Barbara Kahan. Now, Galina Upson, one of the alleged abusers, who is connected with the one of the parents. She's one of the parents. Her and her husband are connected to. Is their daughter? Is their son James one of the 20 special children? Yeah. Okay. Now they've been connected to a company, a money laundering company. They're called shell companies. There are many premises on the Finchley Road, which is in Hampstead, where these companies' addresses are. And Barbara Kahan, people Google her, she's almost like, I'm not sure if it was you, she's almost like the patron saint of paedophiles, in that she facilitated and gave credibility to an infamous paedophile, Peter Wright, who was a founding member of PI, the Paedophile Information Exchange. And he wrote his most notorious article, when was it? In 1981. The name of the article escapes me now. I'll remember it in a moment. But 10 years later, she was receiving advice from him in the formulation of guidelines and development of social services and children's welfare guidelines. So,
which laid the foundation for the pedophile to access children, vulnerable children, right?
Yes, his association with her gave him credibility within academic circles, in social, what I call child welfare academic circles, and he became a go-to person, if you will, for advice in child welfare. Unbeknownst to many, he was him and his live-in partner. He was ostensibly a homosexual, but him and his live-in partner were both practicing paedophiles, and he made no secret of his private life. And it seems that many of his colleagues in the child welfare profession were reluctant to voice their concerns regarding his sexual proclivities, for fear of rocking the boat at a time. This was in the 70s, early 70s, 80s, at a time of what can I say, more liberal attitudes, if you will. And so their silence became, was a form of betrayal to the many children, the thousands and thousands of children that were abused within children's homes by Peter Wrighton and his ilk, being able, due to their positions, being able to place other paedophiles in positions, in influential positions within childcare, within the childcare profession, if you will. And this has been going on since the 60s. And strangely enough, Barbara Kahan's husband, Vladimir Kahan, happens to be a child psychiatrist who wrote and worked for Tavistock, would you believe? And Tavistock is a name that causes commentators to be barred on certain blogs, on certain blog sites. You'd be surprised. And forums, you may be surprised to learn. But yes, we've discovered that this unholy alliance of Barbara Kahan, her husband Vladimir Kahan, and Peter Wrighton mirrors the state that we find ourselves in today, with the unholy alliance of CAFCAS, social services, Coram, the third largest adoption agency in the UK, and of course our dear friends at Tavistock again. So this issue has been decades in the making, and this is why people are a bit of an odds as to work out what's going on, because they'd have to be aware of the fact that this child welfare profession was infiltrated by paedophiles at its inception. So it was conceived in iniquity, our social services, our present social services. And as a child snatching institution, industrial institution, I would say it's fit for purpose. It definitely is fit for purpose. But when it comes to child welfare, no, we're not impressed. We're not amused. Alfred. You still with us, Alfred?
Yes. I went back, and in my mind as you were speaking, I just recalled cases, legal cases that I happen to have been involved in here in Canada with the equivalent of what you would call social services that they call the Children's Aid Society here, that appears to have similar functions here in Canada. So I was just reframing in my own mind a lot of the findings that you have made in the UK, because we happen to have done some legal work in this area and discovered a great deal of the same things in here. They're called Children's Aid Society.
Well, it's international, Alfred. It's no excuse. UK or the Commonwealth. Who is it? Norway. Norway have
Yeah, for example, like in Northern European countries, the well, I'm not quite sure what it's called, social services, but the organization, with the same function, they have like the only and last word in taking children. There is no even like court. You can't dispute their decision. They just take children, and you're lucky if you speak to your children once or twice a year on the phone. So it's even worse in those countries. And something also started to develop in Russia, I've heard, where, for example, if your income level is below certain criteria, then they can take your children as well. And also some strange stories going on around orphanages. So it looks like this death cult spread its tentacles there as well.
I see.
Yeah, there are rumors. You've heard, haven't you, Alfred? Alfred?
Yes, I'm here.
There are rumors of Putin. Apparently, Putin is dead.
I've read various reports that he was absent for a 10-day period. Is that what you're referring to?
Well, they say they put down right, and that Medvedev is apparently a Kabbalistic Talmudic Jew.
Well,
and looks like he's got the handshake. He does a special handshake with the Pope.
Well, we'll have to look into those. We'll have to look into those rumors and follow up on that.
Well, it seems that the cult is spreading its tentacles and entrenching its position.
I see. So
they seem to be anticipating something.
I see. So did this happen while during the 10-day period that Putin was out of public sight?
Well, who knows?
I see.
Who knows?
Well, no. I think it's been going for quite a while.
I see.
But rumors are that he was dead for quite a while, maybe for a few months now.
I see.
And his ex-wife already confirmed that.
Yeah.
I see.
But it's just
now yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. So where you say the death cult, are you equating this with the New World Order, or is that what you're saying?
If you will, yes. New World Order, Illuminati, call it what you will.
Yeah. Okay. So do you feel that is what has occurred to your family, that your children and yourselves as a family have collided with the New World Order, and that is what is occurring right now?
Yeah, it feels like it. It feels like Illuminati.
Feels like it.
Yeah. But the
prevalence, as we said, the prevalence of these intelligence operatives, counterintelligence operatives, as I said, MI5 witches, FBI bitches, and ex-policemen snitches, pimps, ponces and nonces, shills, trolls and moles. They're all over the Hampstead. They're all over the Hampstead case. And, we're not surprised to see them coming to feed at the trough. It's par for the course. This case it's not unique. We were on the phone today to Vicky Hay, and she was telling us about some other mothers, yeah,
in a similar position.
Right. Have you heard anything from or about your children, how they are, what state, their health, their emotional condition, etc.?
No, nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
They're incommunicado, Alfred, because the children know far too much about the inner workings of the cult.
Right.
They know far too much. After 4 or 5, how long were they? Is it 4 or 5 years? They say since they were 4 years of age.
Something like that. Yeah, this is what the cult activity was going on. But no, I haven't heard from them, and also our requests been ignored, and there was sort of fake how to say,
well, they hoodwinked you.
Yeah,
they hoodwinked Ella's parents into coming over, into flying over.
They tricked them into flying, and they say that they're going to see children, but that was apparently an exchange for them to agree, for them agreeing with Buckley's judgment, and this was transpired during their last their last interview with social services, who made it clear that they would like to go through the judgment point by point, and they would like to hear their opinion, and perhaps in effect agreeing with Buckley.
All their moves, Alfred, their moves are typically crisis management reactions.
Right.
They never expected. They have a template for covering up these situations. When cult members are discovered sodomizing their children, and the mothers report the issue to the authorities, the mothers are invariably hounded out of the country, demonized, imprisoned, institutionalized. They are amputated. It doesn't only happen within what we call secular society, but it happens even within the Hasidic Jewish community. They have the same issue. Mothers that complain about the sodomy, the right of sodomy, are amputated, is the term they use. I think this young fellow, is his name Alex Renton. He's an ex-public school boy. He went to Ashdown, and he's written about the issue of the right of sodomy as an integral part of British culture. And this really needs to be addressed. This is why you have so many MPs sodomizing children and all of these cases coming up, because it's an integral part of their upbringing within public school. And they're just merely translating it and looking for fresh victims within the wider community. And this is what we feel is responsible for the creation of the child welfare services by paedophiles, by public school paedophiles, of whom Peter Wrighton was one. And it's too it's almost surreal to discover a link between one of the alleged abusers, Galina Upson, who also happened to give the children a pornographic Ukrainian cartoon CD as a birthday present. But Galina Upson, her link with with Barbara Khan's name in the fake companies, in the money laundering companies, which link Alex Cameron QC, David Cameron QC with his David Cameron, Prime Minister, with his big society fund, and it all links in, and people once people follow the links, there are some great blogs like Zoom Pad blog. There's another one, Bits of Books, and Ian Pace blog. So there's some really great blogs out there that have got the information.
Yeah.
And we'll be publishing our own website, Hampstead Cover Up, within a week, HampsteadCoverUp.com, within a week, and that will be another go-to place for information about this international sodomite death cult, and our resistance to it.
So what you're saying is that you found a direct link between the Hampstead case, between the money laundering and the the case, the case that Alyssa and Gabriel have whistleblown on, and the prime minister of the country.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So that David Cameron is actually, if you take the racketeering and corrupt organizations law,
Yeah.
that he's involved in a racketeering corrupt organization that is involved in covering up your case.
There's a fellow.
Yeah, so David Cameron is the prime minister of the country, is liable for crimes committed in your case. Is that? I just want to get this straight. Is that
crime committed by alleged abusers in this case? Galina Upson, she's implicated in the money laundering.
Yeah.
And her name is on a company with Barbara Kahan.
Yeah.
Barbara Kahan.
Yeah.
Barbara Kahan. And this is how we got linked. This is how Barbara Kahan is the person that gave Peter Wrighton his legitimacy.
Right.
However, the link that's not the link. Alex Cameron QC, our Prime Minister's brother, David Cameron's brother, he got 5 money launderers acquitted, 5 money launderers who are linked to this same money laundering gang, of which Galina Upson is a member. Alex Cameron got these 5 guys acquitted.
Right.
And Gordon Bolden, his name is Gordon Bolden, and George Lees? These are the guys who've been doing the research. They can show you direct links between David Cameron's big society fund and the money laundering that's going on in the boiler rooms in Finchley Road and elsewhere. But this information has been out a while, so they've had an opportunity to clean up a lot of their operation. But we're discovering more and more about them, with each passing day, as are the what would I call the armchair sleuths, the thousands of armchair sleuths that Halfley has
labeled.
Yeah.
Evil, foolish.
Yeah, they're all taking it rather personally, and they're now all tunneling away and finding some great
information,
which supports the Alicia and Gabriel's testimonies.
Like, for example, what's been found is that the number of child pornography websites are linked to Diamond's IP address, and on one of those websites there was advertising with my daughter's name, and it's spelled exactly this way,
and the same age, and
the same age. So the amount of evidence is overwhelming, and
there's a growing public concern about the case, and people are growing increasingly concerned about the children's welfare as we learn more and more about the workings of the cult.
Right. Now, in your document, in your legal argument seeking leave to appeal, you say that you're seeking to set aside the judgment, reopen the police investigation into the allegations of satanic ritual child abuse made by Alyssa and Gabriel. Have an investigation opened up against the alleged failings of the initial investigation, i.e., why were things covered up, and then the allegations of Section 4 of the Harassment Act. I'm not sure exactly what that is.
That's to do with publishing of the document online.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now, and this will be on July 23rd. And those will be at the Royal Courts of Justice in Hampstead or London or where?
Court of Injustice, Alfred. Yeah. It helps people to understand the case when they accept the utter corruption of the judiciary, the social service, and the leading members of our police service.
Right.
You know, it's I'm going to say, maybe unpleasant to accept that. To accept that that's what's happened.
Right, right. Well, I can corroborate that because in a parallel interview that we were doing with an individual who is a targeted individual and who is working with the European Coalition against covert harassment in Brussels, we were able to unearth directly, and this interview is published now, it's online, that directly the police chief of Brussels, we caught him in a corrupt act, whereas other officers in the police, in the police department did not go along with those corrupt acts. So it's clear that the police chief is part of the pedophile networks in Brussels.
Mm-hmm. It's quite, yes. The feeling that the spread of this cloud is quite big in Belgium.
Yeah. Belgium is one of the headquarters, and just this past week, Laurent Louis, who is a former member of the Belgian Parliament, who read out on the floor of the Belgian Parliament the names of the pedophile networks that a dying fellow member of the Parliament said, could you read this out? You know, I'm dying. And so he did it. And these went all the way up to the royal family. Now, they sentenced him to 6 months in jail, suspended sentence, plus I think it was 20,000 euros fine, plus he cannot run again for office for 7 years, and they did it in a secret trial. And this is at the national level. And this is the member of parliament.
This is how it works, Alfred. This is how it works.
Yeah. So, but I just wanted to confirm to you that as a news agency, we were able to catch, by the evidence, the police chief of Brussels is corrupt in protecting these networks, so that it is not at all out of sorts for you to make those statements.
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's what we're learning from others. We need too much of this, Alfred.
Yeah. Now I'm just going. Hear you say this is you're asking, this court will be aware of the media attention to this case. We request that the court considers this appeal in conjunction with the statutory inquiry into historic child abuse set up by the Home Secretary Theresa May, led by Justice Goddard. This inquiry, as we are aware, is considering whether and the extent to which public bodies and other important institutions have taken seriously their duty of care to protect children from sexual abuse. has your case, has the Hampstead case at all gotten over into the Parliament or the statutory, this inquiry?
Well, we did write to them. We did write to this committee, this national inquiry, and to Justice Goddard, but we only received a generic reply saying that they're going to look into it, but it's been quite a while ago. It's been a couple of weeks, and despite our continuous attempts to communicate with them, we still haven't got an answer.
Right.
They're avoiding this case like the plague.
On all levels.
And they're resisting its, how can I say, its assault on the collective consciousness. It's almost as if many people are in a form of connective denial, as if to admit that this was happening, they'd have to admit that the whole society is finished. You see, we've got a parallel, we've got a case in Norwich right now, Alfred, where there are 10 supposed professionals, 6 women and 4 men. The lead protagonist, her name is Maria Black. She's known as Black Widow in a local community. Well, these people have been charged with counts of sodomy and sexual abuse on 5 children. One of them has admitted some of the charges, and amongst the charges, amongst the allegations, or the testimony of the children, are allegations that they were forced to drink human blood. Now, initially, when the BBC reported on this in 2010, that's how long the case had been going, they called the claims of blood drinking nonsensical. When they are forced to report on the case, because right now it's on trial at Norwich Crown Court, the trial continues as far as my information tell me. The trial continues, and they've resorted to ignoring the references to blood drinking, and there seems to me an attempt by the establishment to demonise the social worker and to cover up and sweep this under the carpet. So we've got the Hampstead case with the blood, with the consumption of blood and cannibalism and the like, and then you've got the Norwich case with the consumption of human blood, and you add to that the recent
massive rape of children.
All right. Then you've got the media campaign, the BBC media campaign and the mainstream media campaign in their attempt to normalise the consumption of human blood. Quite a spate of articles coming out about the benefits of
Documentaries as well.
And documentaries about the benefits of consuming human blood. And it seems that, this seems to be the agenda, to accept normalization. Add to that the fact that in the mainstream food supply, McDonald's, Pepsi's, and in many cosmetics, they're already using aborted fetal cells. You've got aborted fetal cells in the food supply, and Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and other cosmetic firms and McDonald's using aborted fetal cells in the food supply. So, people are already consuming. They're already consuming, already cannibalizing other humans. And so it seems to be ushering in this sodomite death cult vampire religion, as it were.
Now, some people have suggested that this is coming from crypto-terrestrials. That is from intelligent reptilian races or other species that actually engage in cannibalism and human blood drinking.
We call that.
Sorry?
That's distraction. What that is to distract people from the inhumane behavior of anti-humans. They are humans, and they are inhumane. That's all it is. And what they attempt to do is to create bogeymen, archons, demons, in all reptilians, distraction, extraterrestrials, distractions. They are human. They are beasts in human form. They are humans, anti-human.
Now, what would be the purpose to seed fast food with human flesh and to promote the normalization of the consumption of human blood? What's their purpose? What's their motive?
Okay, the Satanic is that they have this death cult has misinterpreted ancient scriptures, which speak of drinking the blood and eating the flesh of the sacred goddess, right, the Virgin Goddess. They have misinterpreted arcane scriptures. These scriptures were speaking of the blood of plants, specifically a god plant. The ancient Persians, the Zoroastrians, they enjoyed a sacred elixir of immortality, which they derived from a plant they called khorma, the only plant they ever deified. The parallel Hindu Vedic culture also enjoyed a sacred elixir of immortality, a blood from plant, that they called soma. They called their drink, their sacred elixir, soma, and they also called the plant from which it was derived, soma. The parallel Chinese culture, whilst the classical name for cannabis was dharma, as explained in a 15th century pharmacopoeia by a fellow called Li Shi Chen, he explained that the classical name for cannabis was dharma, but the name commonly used was khorma, fire hemp, khorma, the same name that the Persians are Zoroastrians use for their sacred elixir and their sacred plant, the only plant ever to be deified. So these what we call them, these Illuminati cult members, these Knights of Malta, these Freemasons, they are misguided in their consumption of human blood. In fact, many of the ancient scriptures prescribe against consuming human blood. Now, the reason they normalize it is in order to. The reason they're implementing is the reason they normalize it is in order to have people already addicted to the free radical. Because what happens within the blood, within the human organism, are free radicals, free radical biochemicals, like free radical metabolites like adrenochrome or adrenaline, or other free radical metabolites. And what they do, these cause a form of schizophrenia. Right? These cause what is clinically termed schizophrenia. Some people would say that schizophrenia was a psychiatric gravy train term. However, what this does, the consumption of these powerful free radicals, it causes, in human blood, yes, causes us humans to be able to compartmentalize unpleasant experiences. So it causes a form of mild mass schizophrenia, the contamination of the food supply with these blood products, if you will.
Mad cow disease.
Yes, similar to mad cow's disease, very good, Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. And this we feel is their intention. Okay, and to maintain their mind control of the population, because this is what's going
Hello?
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the beep.
Hi, Alfred. Sorry,
Hi.
the computer gone out of charge.
Oh, okay.
Run out of charge. Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes. So we're here. Let's carry on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alfred.
Yeah, good.
Alfred.
Yeah.
We were explaining that it's a death cult, Alfred. Yeah.
Right.
They fear death. They fear death. And this is why they're drinking the blood of the children and sodomizing them, because they've misinterpreted ancient scriptures. And they believe that they will absorb the youth of the child. Alex Crowley's tantric sex magic, this is rite of sodomy, by stimulating the nerve endings at the base of the spine of these children, of their child victims, they activate almost like a kundalini energy, and what it does, it stimulates their pineal gland, and the children get flashes of light in their pineal gland, and this the death cult beliefs binds and controls the children to them, and so the children become. This is how they create the mind-controlled sex slaves. That's where that term comes from. So the children, by manipulating them, by sodomizing them, or stimulating nerves at the base of their spine, because it's not so much for sexual pleasure, but it's more to bind and control the child victims to them. Although, of course, some of them do derive some form of some deviant sexual pleasure from these acts. But as I say, it's a death cult. They fear death, and to appease their bogeyman, god of death, they make these dead child sacrifice offerings to their god of death in the hope to cheat death in some way. Fortunately, we come with good news that they no longer have to. That eternal life and eternal youth are accessible, as every religious tradition worth its salt explains. However, you cannot achieve life through death. From death comes always death, and from life comes always life. You see, they fear death, and this is why they kill. They have no faith. They lack faith, and so they are full of fear. We come to share with them our faith, and we say to them, by drinking a plant-based blood transfusion, by drinking hemp plant blood, they can cleanse their own blood and cleanse their own sins through the blood of the Christmas tree. They can, the original Christmas tree. If you look at the cannabis plant, it looks like a Christmas tree.
Right.
And this is the news we come to share with them, that they no longer need to sacrifice and sodomize innocent children. And that's good news for everybody. And this is why it's happening in the care homes all over the world. In Jakarta International School, did we mention that case to you? I'm sure we did. That was did we mention that case?
No. Could you speak about that case, please?
Well, there's a teacher, Neil Bantelman. He has just received a 10-year prison sentence for crimes, copycat crimes to the Hampstead case.
I see.
There were so many similarities. Yeah, he received a 10-year prison sentence. It's a CIA mind-controlled sex slave school, and Bantelman just received a 10-year sentence from the Indonesian government. Obama, Barry Satoro, he was a pupil at this school. He's a mind-controlled sex slave. Barack Obama. He went to this school. And what were the similarities with the case? There were underground secret rooms. There were windowless underground secret rooms which became hidden during the investigation, which were covered up and hidden, filled in. They were anesthetized. The children were anesthetized. Oh, there was medical evidence corroborating the children's allegations. The school initially rubbished all of the claims. There were a few other similarities. I can't. Oh, the children were sodomized by groups of men. The other similarities escape me right now because it was a while ago when we did this research. But as I say, these cases it's going on all over the world, and particularly in children's homes and schools,
right?
Because they feel that they absorb the youth of the victims through these acts, and then when they sacrifice any of the victims to their god of death, they do that in an attempt to appease their god of death and to cheat death, because they have no faith. They have no faith. They only have fear, and their fear is the fear of death.
So something came to my mind when you mentioned school, that in our case, school was actually invited to all the strategy meeting with police and social services from the beginning, even though school is alleged implicated in the rape and sodomy and murder of the infants, and still they were participating in all strategy meetings, deciding what's going to happen with the children.
Right. And in fact, looking again at your legal argument, you say here on one of the paragraphs here, you said, with regard to the police investigation, the effective investigation was never carried out, vital evidence was not secured, and possibly allowed to have been concealed.
They were concealed. Sorry, they were concealed. There was recordings of the officer Jean Clement, as well as the children's the video clips, and those evidence were concealed, and in the property storage in Chingford, and by DC Rogers, one of the investigators, and this material was never available to the rest of the constables and inspector, whoever was investigating this case.
Right. And then you go on to say, this, the appellant strongly states, is in breach of the children's rights under Article 3 of the European Convention on Human Rights.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, if we come to July 23rd, and this is a very strong, powerful legal document that you have prepared, and by any rights, you should be given leave to appeal here. And,
Well,
no,
so
I'm saying,
so
I mean,
far,
and I have thought, sorry?
the appeal on papers sorry to am interrupting. There was refused, and the judge Black, she said that the police investigation was dealt with Justice Popley, and there is no other issues to kind of like no other issues of dispute. So in effect, she discharged and dismissed all other everything from our skeleton arguments.
Well, okay. Then, have you thought of going to the European Court on Human Rights?
Yes, we did. Of course, we did. The problem is that all this is just stalling time, and it's going to take a while. While children are right now in the hands of the abusers,
exactly.
And not just that, their dad, who's now we know that what children said is true. There's too much evidence. And he really grasped himself up on the national television and lied as well and misled the public by giving some false information to the interviewer. And he still has access to the children, increased access to the children. We know he gave them laptops, and that was allowed to communicate with children regularly over the Skype or whatever. And we know that the social services and police is complicit in this crime. So at the moment, my children remain at risk. Other children allegedly abused in the children allegations. I still remain at risk, and I are most likely are suffering and being raped and sodomized as we speak. So,
right. So this is really.
we need quicker, we need more urgent and efficient and effective measures right now.
Yeah. So this is really to reach out to the audience that is
absolutely
listening now, that you need action in the parliament. Now, in the parliament now, they're discovering that pedophile parliamentarians, members of parliament, abuse children in parliament.
That's right.
That's just coming in now. So that's a situation that one is dealing with. So
exactly.
So it seems like this is the boil that is bursting right in public right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that you are, and collectively we're all like, getting all this poison out in public, and then just trying to bring in the health back in. It seems to me, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so what you're doing here
on many levels, is happening.
Yeah. And so it seems to me that the legal case, all of this effort, even though one says, well, nothing's going to happen on the court on July 23rd. I just want to make sure that I say the date correctly. that all of this is necessary to bring it to public consciousness, so that there are witnesses there, so that we do keep going, because at some point, the death cult will fail, don't you think?
Absolutely, it's going to die eventually. It's time for them to stop. It's been going for far too long. They've been exposed now. It cannot continue any longer, and we don't accept this behavior in our consciousness anymore.
Right.
And of course, like you mentioned, 23rd. Yeah, we don't expect much from the judicial system at all, because now we see and we're confident. We're confident to say that they are involved, and they are covering these crimes against our children. And but what in regards to what we can do, it's for people to rise up and to put a stop to that, to protest. Like on the 23rd, we inviting people to come to the court and to come near the court and to have their say, because there are plenty of cases, and we can see this cover up all over the place. And we have to put a stop to it. It cannot continue any longer. It's time to stop.
It's not a secret anymore, Alfred, you see.
Right.
They like to have their secret societies, their secret fraternities, their secret family courts, their secret meetings. But 2 children have exposed their secret death cult. Their sodomite death cult has been exposed, and the complicity of our judiciary, our politicians, parliamentarians, police, child welfare services, CAFCAS, the adoption agencies, Coram, CAFCAS, Tavistock, they've all been exposed. The genie is definitely out of the bottle, and they really don't know what to do about it, Alfred. We gave them an offer. We made a tentative offer way back in February, and their MI5 operative, for scorn on our suggesting that this case could become a cause célèbre, and from thence a question of national security. And here we are now with this case becoming a question of international security. We have Russian internet media. What are they doing? They're transcribing, they're putting subtitles to many of the videos and they're
making their own films. They're making documentaries as well.
They're making the Russian internet media are making documentaries as well as translating the existing material. We have videos coming out daily from different avenues. Who was it? A fellow video man who works for Hampstead Research has recently published 4 videos. Another young enterprising fellow, Toothless Get Ruthless on YouTube. We advise your listeners to check out this fellow's work. Toothless Get Ruthless on YouTube does some amazing videos, and he has the Tavistock mind controllers. He has them surrounded single-handedly, this fellow. And who else have we got? We've got a fellow, Guidance 222, another fellow on YouTube who's publishing information regularly. We've got a fellow called Driftfluid who writes on the legal subject. He writes on the legal aspects of the case on Hampstead Research. Who else? We've got Angie, Tap, Henry Curtis over at Tap Newswire. We've got a lot of people supporting the case and really assisting because they know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then of course you've got the shills and the trolls and the molds and the rest. Go on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Alfred. Sorry.
Yeah,
Alfred.
yeah. No. I would just.
Inside Out news.
I was just going to mention that also there's a citizens grand jury process that is in the process of formation now. Do you have any comment or thoughts about that?
We love this initiative. Magna Carta, any initiative that gives power to the people and takes it out of the hands of this ruling minority and returns the power to the people. Any initiative that returns the power to the people, we're in support of.
Right.
And making people.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a citizens grand jury for the Hampstead case that's starting right now.
Apparently, Araya and Kevin. Araya and another friend of ours, Kevin, have been organising one, but I wasn't sure if there was another one. There were so many different initiatives going on, and it's wonderful to see people, taking it upon themselves to make a stand and to make their voices heard.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking at one point of going through your legal document. It's quite lengthy. It's quite detailed. It's 17 pages long.
No,
we're going to publish it, and
Alfred,
so
sorry, that's the abridged version.
Yeah.
Ella's abridged version. The original is how long is the original?
Yeah, it's so much longer. I think it's 40.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
Possibly 44. But the abridged version is fine for News Inside Out, I think.
Yeah, sure. And so we will put that online, because people just have to go through this and they can see from a technical standpoint what a miscarriage of justice, what a kangaroo court, what a template, as you stated, this whole process is. It's part of, as you stated, an industrial scale process, and they're just dealing with a particular category. But this is not going to end the way that they think it's going to end. So without giving away any of your plans, what are your plans for the future?
We let higher forces make the plans. Plans are all the plans of mice and men, as it were.
Yeah.
We allow higher forces to make the plans, and we just we make sure that we're willing and able servants.
Yeah.
Right. So actually, today's the 28th of June, so we have about 3 weeks away for this next step, and
more like 4 weeks. 23rd of June. But 28th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, are there any areas that we have not yet covered in this interview that you would like to cover?
There is one thing. There's one thing that keeps coming to my mind.
Yeah.
Is that the children were happy. When we returned from Morocco, the children were happy. They were happy to have been relieved of the burden. They were happy to have gone through the disclosing, because it was a very difficult time for them as well as for us. Because a part of them wanted to resist disclosing.
Or their fear.
Yeah.
Their fear was on the way as well. They were really scared of them, of the cult.
But once they had disclosed, and we got some policemen, we went to see my brother-in-law, who's a policeman, and the first 2 policemen came to the house. Now, the first 2 policemen that came, they weren't the girl was definitely not a cult member. All right, the girl's definitely. I have to mention the name. I'm sorry, her name is Cleo Papachristou, a young Greek Cypriot girl, police girl. She was excited when she first heard the information. And who was with her? D.I. who?
Jonathan Dix.
Jonathan Dix. Yeah, he seems to be implicated now. Jonathan Dix. Yeah, is he?
Well,
I think maybe he's been silent. He seemed fine to me. He really seemed fine initially. But we've heard nothing from them since. And Elder says that Cleo hung her head. But the point we're making is this. The children were happy to be free. They felt that they were free, to be free of the cult. But after 2 or 3 days, I mean, they were really happy. And they didn't want to be in the cult. They didn't want to be in the cult.
As well as other children do not want to be in the cult.
And the reason they didn't tell was only out of fear of being killed. They were threatened with death if they ever revealed. And we got them to face their fear and to reveal and to speak the truth. And they did not want to remain in the cult. And this is the point that drives me personally on. That, you know, it's not that I feel as if I betrayed the children, but I definitely feel as if the children have been betrayed by humanity collectively. They've been betrayed by their abusers.
Yeah.
Then we should have spotted it. We should have spotted it, and we should have known how best to deal with it. I'm not sure if it's Ian Fleming. Is it Ian Fleming? One of the MPs advises mothers not to report their suspicions to the authorities. And
I think it's one of the whistleblowers, Ian Joseph. I think
is it Ian
saying
Joseph? Okay.
That for he advises for the mothers not to report the crime, otherwise they might lose their children.
So they invariably do.
And that's what we're experiencing.
And this is not a unique case, Alfred. There are many other mothers who have experienced this and are going through similar challenges. As I said, we spoke to Vicky.
Who already lost their children.
Yeah, and there's
to the rapist fathers.
Yeah, and there's one mother who's written a book. Mummy, she's written 2 books, in fact. Mummy, Where Are You? And Mummy Is Still Here. And there you can find them on Amazon. What's the pen name? She has to write under.
Jean d'Olivier.
Jean d'Olivier is her pen name. She has to write under a pen name because she's got a global gagging order, as does Robert Greene. And this is another one of their tactics, is to impose global gagging orders to prevent people from talking about their mutant child sacrifice death cult. Well, the word is out now, Alfred, thanks to people like you and other popular internet, because you are the media now. You are the new media, Alfred.
Most media is dead now.
Yeah, right. You are the new media. Thank you ever so much, Alfred, for the opportunity to share on your show.
Oh, sure, but I'm not going to let you go yet because I have a couple of I have a couple of details.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Now, what can the court do? What is it that you're asking the court to do?
Well, I would imagine they're in a difficult position.
You explain that you still have the residence order.
Well, no, the residence order was revoked by mayor without explanations.
Yeah. Okay. No hearing.
Yeah, and
Dr. Hodes, what would we like the court to do? Return the children to their mother,
right.
Simply,
right,
away from the sodomite death cult father, quite simply.
Right.
However, they're implicated in what is it? Child porn movies, snuff movies. What is it? Child trafficking, child prostitution, money laundering.
Organ harvesting
and organ trafficking, And that's,
so it's a big operation there.
So and it's connecting to a lot of people. You know, it's connected to a lot of people. I mean, if they're eulogizing or celebrating Barbara Kahan, then you know they're leaving clues. It's almost as if they want. It's almost as if they want to be. They want to be caught. They want to be exposed, or as if they're doing it in plain sight.
Right.
Because the Barbara Kahan link to the money laundering, you know, and the fact that she's a pioneer in child welfare, and she
as we have it now,
and Peter Wrighton, who is connected to, you know, there are connections all the way to number 10 Downing Street, and he was her protege, as it were. There are just it's just all links up, and
right.
This is a story that they don't really want out there.
Right. So it looks like it's going to get out there then.
Well, it looks like it's already seeping out into the new media. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we certainly want to thank you, and we know that you have been through and you are going through what must be the nightmare that every parent, you know, would think, and you're turning it into, you know, you're going it and making it a sacred journey as much as possible, and it's just extraordinary. So I know that many of us are following you and are supporting you, and we want to thank you for having taken time out to come today, and we hope that you will come and join us again in the future as events develop.
Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you, Alfred,
Thank
so
you
much.
And all the other supporters. Thank you all, to everyone who's supporting the children. Thank you all.
And thank you, Alice and Gabriel, as well.
They are the ones who set the example to us, Alfred.
To all of us, and to...
By being brave enough.
And to the other victims, and...
being brave enough to talk. Can you imagine what it must be like, Alfred? And now they find themselves once again in the clutches of the cult. Can you imagine the punishment they must... Can you imagine... I don't really want to talk about it, but can you imagine the punishment they must have received when they were once again in the clutches of the cult for having revealed the inner workings of the cult?
I can only imagine, I mean, the backlash that must be coming, you know, and we just hope that by keeping the media spotlight on them, that the backlash, you know, that they cannot do much backlash, and that's about what we're hoping.
Alfred, the case has a life of its own. If Ella and I were no longer here, there would still be a force fighting for the children. There are people out there who will fight for the children regardless of us. So It's not about individuals. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. This is international. This is an international issue, and they are stealing children wholesale from everywhere, Alfred. These death cults, these child sacrificial death cults, seem to have been with humanity throughout history. At least we know for the last 26,000 year cycle, what they call Kali Yuga, the Dark Age, and this, as we move into Sat Yuga, into this new 26,000 year sunspot cycle. It's a new time. It's a new age. They are the old. They are dead. It's a death cult, and they must inevitably die out. We celebrate life. And so this is why we are their natural nemesis. We drink the blood of life, and they drink the blood of death. It's quite simple energetics, Alfred.
Right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alfred. Thank you. You still there?